This guy can take his shirt off. This guy can't. Hey, what's popular, everybody? Friday morning reload. To cut through the mustard. We're gonna have a few grading points, a few comparisons, and then an overall, okay? And we'll handle that throughout a couple of rounds. In true Street Fighter fashion, it's fantabulous. All right, so first, let's just get a few things out of the way so we can make sure that we're fair with this thing, all right? Obviously, they're not the same scale. So, fully extended to the best of my ability, the Storm Collectibles Ryu is right at about 7 inches tall. Whereas the SHFiguarts is, to be fair, just a little over 6 inches tall. Let's say you're dealing with blending your, mixing your Street Fighter lines, right? Like, I don't mind mixing them sometimes, right? So if you're dealing with, like, say, some of the NECA stuff, then this guy would go along with that. Here he is besides NECA Chun-Li. And you can see that she fits in right with this guy, right? If you're trying to go with some of the old soda stuff, then you can put the SHFiguarts guy with the soda figures. So that's just something to take consideration for there. So when it comes to scale, that's going to be a draw because it's really going to depend on what you want to do with your own personal collection. If you're going to line them up with other Street Fighter lines, or if you're going to continue on exclusively with this particular line. So the choice is on you on that one. Okay, so for this next bit, we're going to deal with aesthetic. Right? With the SHFiguarts Ryu, you get a cleaner, slimmer aesthetic. He's not bulky. He's quite agile, right? His gi is clean. He's more of a sleek figure, right? Whereas with the Storm Collectibles version, he's roughed over, he's grimy, he's got a lot of girth, he's wide, he's bulky. Now, you may be thinking, I want my Ryu to be like he's going through the shit, right? And that's quite possible because the weathering on this guy is pretty good. He's got paint everywhere. Whereas this Ryu does have paint, but not as much to offer as this guy, right? But what you'll find is that where this guy is limited in girth and bulkiness, and I guess making him look more intimidating, he makes up for it in his flexibility and his movement, right? That'll take us to our next battle for these guys. Let's look at articulation, not just the points of articulation, but let's take a look at the way the articulation is accomplished. Because that plays a serious part in the overall look for the figure. I covered before, this guy has this rubber bit here, and it makes this look really good, makes it look seamless, right? But a problem that you get from it is looking down, it doesn't hold that position. Looking up, it doesn't hold that position because of the fact that this rubbery part right here is kind of in the way. So that kind of really stops him from getting the full range of motion and holding that pose. So what you come out with is just, twist, hold it down, hold it up, and in the directions, of course, don't push it too far down. When it comes to the other Ryu, the SHFiguarts Ryu, stand tight, stand tall, buddy, stand tall. Because it's in their classic articulated format, whereas you have the ball joint here, then you have the ball joint going into the head, and you have this piece here over that, and this is a soft plastic piece as well, right? Oh, that's just it's a hard plastic piece as well, but like I said, you have the ball joint going in here, a ball peg going into the head, into this base of this neck thing here, then you have the same thing going into here, into the top of the chest, right? So because of that, he can get all kinds of ranges of motion, right? He can look left, he can look right or right, left, whatever. He can roll it all the way around, and wherever you leave it, it's basically going to stay. You're not doing that with that one, right? When you come to the articulation, again, of the shoulders here, you get a butterfly joint that actually works. That butterfly joint does not work, not with the gi on. The gi totally gets in the way of this one, whereas this one, you get the freedom of that fucking joint. You get to enjoy the actual joint, right? And I think that's due in large part to the fact that they separate the gi here and here, as well as still give you the cup on the inside, right? And then of course you get these high speed SHFiguarts joints that they've been working with up in this area here, right? And to be fair, Figuarts and Figma are way ahead of the game when it comes to articulated joints. They just transcended what most figures in the 6-inch realm, 6-inch scale or 1/12 scale have accomplished and done, right? And they continue to be cutting edge, right? So here you get a swivel there on the double articulated elbow joint, and that's crazy. You've not seen that anywhere. You've not seen that on Figma. You've seen that nowhere. As a matter of fact, I dare say this is new to this line, this Street Fighter line, because I've got quite a few SHFiguarts figures, and I can't recall seeing that. So that's something to give consideration to. Now, it's not so pretty on this side, but god damn it, it damn sure works. Like, he can get this whole range of movement right here. So if he wants to get in there and scratch his back, you better believe he can get it. This guy right here, he can get about that. Because he's got the bicep swivel, and he's got this classic, which this has been used by SHFiguarts as well, and Figma, more so SHFiguarts, because Figma typically has the ball pegs with the hinge, right? It's just not a pretty joint. It's not a pretty joint. It looks better on the scope than this does, but it's not pretty. It's not optimal for achieving like a lot of flexibility in the pose, right? It's just not there. So that's the upper body. Now when we get into the lower body, you got separation here and you got separation there. And so that gives him a great range of motion here. Like if you look inside of there, you've got this weird ball joint there. It's like a swivel inside of there with a peg and a ball going up into a socket here in the torso. But then it's on a swivel there at the base. And then here, this area is broken down into so many freaking different layers. And the ingenuity of these joints on this figure is insane. It's insane. It's cutting edge. It's fucking whooping ass already. I haven't even gone through the rest of this figure here, and I'm telling you right now that this is whooping all kinds of ass. This portion here alone is fucking winning, right? This guy right here, he's got this standard swivel there. And this goddamn belt, we're gonna get into this belt shit. Just take it off. Just take it off. So I can show it to you. All right, he's got the ball joint on a peg here, right? He's got the separation there for the upper body. Because of the way the plastic is, this soft rubber here, the movement is really stiff. It's really stiff. I mean, you can get your swivel, don't get me wrong, but as far as like an ab crunch type deal, it's not going to hold that pose when you flex them forward, right? You get a little bit more flex out of the waist area there, right? And then here, this is a standard joint. Not to diminish it, I'm not trying to downplay it, I'm just saying it's a standard joint there with the ball joints going into the cups inside of there, right? So it's not that it's bad, it's not that it's horrible, it's just that SHFiguarts has surpassed it already. So there's that. And then when it comes to movement, right, they're on some older stuff, whereas they have, and this was cutting edge at some point, I'm sure, resembling the type of plastic that you would get on a Play Arts Kai figure, older SHFiguarts figure. This is a soft plastic here, and it basically serves as a cover for the joints that's here, right? And you got the division there, right? So, but what you get, and because this is so beefy here, what you get is you get a forward kick that doesn't go very far. Whereas with this guy, because they've broken all of this up, right? Swivels. I mean, this thing here is insane. This piece that cuts across here, so it covers up all of the gappage that you got under here, and then you have a swivel there, as well as you have this piece, which is like, we're just going to call it a overlapping flap. How about that? It's not so much overlapping flap as much as it is like I don't know what you want to call it. It's a cup. It's another cup. It's a section, another section of the swivel. How about that? And then you have a swivel inside. These joints are freaking off the chain. Let's just say it what it is, right? So he can get his kick all the way up front because it's on a swivel. Plus it has the hinge. Plus it has another swivel. You see what I'm saying? So it's really, really dynamic. Really dynamic. The rotation is crazy. And wherever you leave it, that's where it's going to be. And again, with this guy, I mean, kinda. kind of. Okay. Knee joints. Again, a portion. This is going to be limited because of the girth of the leg, right? But it's using the same. It's utilizing the same joint here, the joint apparatus here that it's got here, right? And it's really not enough space for you to take full advantage of that joint and really get a nice. And then that's the next thing. Really get a nice flex off of the figure, right? So you just saw that pop off because it's on a ball joint. Thank God for that. Then, of course, you're on a ball joint here, so you can put all this stuff back together. But I've been dealing with that a lot, right? Just like that. And all right. So because of this cup inside of here and this ball joint, you get some range. You get a good swivel there, right? Kind of limited going. This is on the hinge, right? Back and forth. So you get a range of motion going forward and a range of motion going back, but because this is on this ball and this ball keeps popping out of socket, it can be kind of troublesome and worrisome trying to get his foot to go all the way up or all the way back. There you go again. Now, to be fair, that can be remedied with like a little bit of future. All my Marvel Legends collectors know about this. A little bit of, and my Transformer collectors too. A little bit of future floor wax or clear fingernail polish will make that a little bit tighter, but you really shouldn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? You really shouldn't have to do it. And also, to be fair, it's not so much this foot, I have noticed. So it could just be that this one is a little more loose than it should be, right? Whatever. Put him down. This guy right here, let's pull it out a little bit. This guy right here. All right, we're gonna come back. So his knee joint is on a swivel inside of here, a swivel inside of there, and then a very well designed hinge bit there. Now that's pretty squared away, right? And then you have the metal inside, the metal pin. It's not even a pin really. It's a open screw. There you go. You can see it like that. There you go. And I'm pretty sure that's die cast, but I mean that's really cool. It makes it sturdy. The quality is there. You've got the ankle on a hinge here, right? Cool. And then you also have the swivel there by virtue of a peg going into that foot. That's cool. This is probably one of the best things about, and I'm finding myself leaving this guy in the past right now. This is probably one of the best things about this figure. The way the toe articulation is handled, okay? So this is standard practice. This is the same articulated foot piece you'll find on, let's say, Marvel Legends, the old NECA Street Fighter stuff, possibly the Soda stuff too. I think the Soda stuff is a little bit different in the way that, let's take a look at this chick right here, right? In the way that it's handled, because it is so well designed and it's so well detailed. So like she's got her sneaker there, and you don't really get a full range of motion on that peg anyways, right? So, but then you take a look at an older SHFiguarts figure here, you can see they also have used that in the past, right? But, and it's not horrible, we're used to it, but it doesn't look the best. Just for like visual aesthetic, it just does not look the best. It doesn't look real at all outside of the fact that the detail work is there in the scope. But when you get here, it's something about the way they have it cut at that angle. Like it's not a straight across bit. You feel what I'm saying? This is straight with a chunk out there and the pin going through it. There's something different about that. Look at that. It's just handled differently. And then the pin is well hidden there. There's not a lot of gappage. There's not so much toe separation as this guy has. So anatomy-wise, this looks more realistic as far as the digits, but this portion right here is just an eyesore, whereas this is tight. It's tight and it's tucked away. You don't really even notice it, and the way the foot swivels just makes it all the more beautiful. So when that foot kicks, because when you throw a kick, it should be angled like that, right? So when you throw that, because this will cause your ankle to break. So when you throw that foot kick in here, because you're hitting with that side, right? When you throw that foot kick, it looks right, man. It looks really good. So yet again, the SHFiguarts model is winning when it comes, in my opinion. So when it comes to articulation, the clear winner has to go to SHFiguarts Ryu, just because SHFiguarts themselves is beating the shit out of everybody with their joints, to be fair. The engineering of their joint work is off the chain. God damn it. This foot just came with this peg. This motherfucking bullshit with these ball joints, man. At this point, we're kind of beating up on the Storm Collectibles Ryu, right? So let's go somewhere. Let's get petty right now. Okay, so let's try to even up the playing field a little bit, right? So let's look at accessories. SHFiguarts Ryu comes with two replaceable faces, one spare set of hands, and a stand for his little Hadouken right there, right? And then just so we can try to get some extra points, he has this doesn't come attached to him, so I guess we can call that an accessory as well. Then he has a little backdrop thing back here, which is in 2 parts. The Storm Collectibles Ryu comes with 2 faces as well. He comes with 3 sets of hands, which are really good. And then he comes with this Hadouken bit, which is in 3 parts, because it's got this part, that part, and it's got this part here as well. And then he comes with the backdrop, obviously. And then he comes with this stand, which alone, I think, could win the fucking accessory, or at least the stand battle, because god dang it. Well, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the stand battle. Round 1. Go. So this little guy right here plugs into this little bit right here, and then you have this little thing right here, and that's the purpose of that stand. It's not for the actual figure there, right? Whereas this guy comes with this stand, got the cool little Street Fighter logo on it. The stand is, Jesus, the stand is fucking hardcore. Like it's hardcore. Like it is not. At some point, I'm scared that's I'm about to break it just with force. You know what I'm saying? You got the spring-loaded pincers. You got the soft ratchet there on that. So this stand beats ass by itself. Okay. As far as quality of accessories go, these hands are pretty decent. Nothing special. They're okay. They're straight. Right, they're painted rather well. The paint looks good, right? So yeah, that's good. Faces, that's a whole other thing we'll get into. And then this guy's hands here. What I like about them are that they are this little soft plastic rubber deal here, so you can use them in more than just the ways they were actually meant to be used, right? So that's pretty cool. And then of course you have the detail on them, so that's pretty cool. So when it comes to accessories, Storm Collectibles Ryu is the clear winner. All right, it's time to start drawing this thing down, okay? For Ryu, Street Fighter, SHFiguarts Ryu, the Hadouken accessory to access it, use it. Who pulls it off better? Now, see, we're going to be honest. We're going to be honest, keeping them honest. So that just popped off, right? That's the first pop off that you've seen from this one. For me, actually, it's about the 2nd or 3rd, right? Okay. There's the pose. There's the Hadouken. Easily done, but not so much fun, right? For the Storm Collectibles one, if you haven't seen my review, I'm gonna this thing here can be kind of fickle, so we're not gonna fuck with that. This guy for this one, and for an in-depth look at how the Hadouken works. Oh, there we go. Another pop off, right? For an in-depth look at how this one works, please check out the review. Links down in the below. But for this guy, you gotta just take it off camera. Okay, we got his Hadouken in his hand. So I want to be fair and get all it. To be fair and fully disclose everything, his glove hand popped off about 3 times in the process of me getting that Hadouken in there. All right, so I'm not gonna even deal with that bullshit. There we go. All right, his Hadouken is quite heavy, so for this one to work, you got to put some real work in on the pose, right, to get him to stand. Let's just be honest. Yeah, that's good enough. And it stands in the hands. Now, once you get the fingers on there, it's pretty decent. It's pretty well held together, but again, you got to put some work in on the legs to get them to stand up, hold it, because this thing is so heavy, right? So I find this one to be really irritating, troublesome, wrist popping off, and it just doesn't even really look right. I mean, you got to really put some work in on the posing, right? Now, fuck it. SHFiguarts wins when it comes to the Hadouken accessory. Because that's just, fuck all that shit. That's too much fucking trouble. Keep in mind, and to be fair, I've reviewed this guy. I've not completed my review on him just yet, right? And I'm saying that to say that I've tumbled around with this guy, pulled this apart, pushed that around, blah, 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 right? And this guy I just kind of messed around with, posed around and stuff like that, right? This gi thing is really cool, but I promise you, if you keep on taking it off, you're going to see this plastic start tearing. You're going to see it start pulling apart, right? I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to happen because he is so wide, and you got to really stretch it out to get it off. But it's not going to lose shape. I give it that much. The major letdown is this belt thing. This portion here snapped as I was trying to put the belt back on. Now, keep in mind, I've taken the top off of this one, I think roughly five times now, not including this last time where I took it off for this portion here, right? So this thing is just now snapping, but on that fifth time, this one snapped, right? And I really just think it's a bad choice. This piece here is so slim. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, right? But the funny thing is, it's hell getting this back on, and this piece snapping actually makes it easier to get it back on, because what you do is you plug all of this in through the holes on here and everything like that. And once you got it all plugged in, you take this piece here and you just kind of, hold on, let me turn it around. You take this piece here and you just kind of bring it around and you just kind of hook it on, right? The only problem is because this piece is so flimsy, whether it's going to stay or not, you see it doesn't really stay. So Storm Collectibles, consider this for future endeavors. Make this portion a little bit tougher. Make it a hook so that way you can actually just hook it around if your intention was to make this a gimmick that this could come off, right? And clearly it was, because you want to show his upper body and all of that shit. This sculpt is probably also being used for Kin too. So maybe that's why you guys have it set whereas it comes off. I don't fucking know. All I know is this is bullshit and it's pop, right? This guy's freaking ball joints pop off constantly. This leg, that daggone, this ankle here, it's always popping off. This crap's always popping off. But I will say that all of the ball joint sockets and all that crap on this guy are really thick. The stems, the pegs are really thick. I don't foresee them breaking anytime soon. If you're changing out hands and shit, like, just take it off right quick. This ball is really thick. It's not going to pop anytime soon. This piece right here may look kind of scary because this is a two-piece deal, but thus far I don't see it being a problem, right? Even this one right here, it's not a problem. It's really thick, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. This scares me. But the saving grace for that is that it's harder to get these little peg things to pop out on him. Not so much on this part that goes into the hand, but the portion that plugs into the wrist there. So I don't think you have to worry about it coming off as much. And it is kind of thick there, the way it's done. So the only scary thing about it is that because this peg is so small, you would be concerned that this might break off. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, right? Plus, SHFiguarts is they're tried and true. They're tested. You know what I'm saying? This belt gi thing here is on a swivel piece connected to this. So you don't have to worry about, for the most part, this belt popping. You don't have to worry about that. And then while this is a soft rubber, it's all together and it's a thicker area, so you don't have to worry about that separating or coming apart. I'm not worried about this guy breaking any freaking time soon, not no time soon. So durability wise, it's going to go to the SHFiguarts Ryu in my book, if not just because of the fact that this motherfucking belt is already broken, and goddamn it, you can't be a hero when your belt's broke, bitch. The final, and I dare say most important of all, is the fun factor. And by fun factor, I mean, you know, enjoying messing around with the guy, playing with the guy. This all sounds wrong. As far as the fun factor goes, if I only had this guy and had never played with this guy, this is all sounded so wrong. I would say he's cool. He's straight. I mean, I would wish he was a little more limber, right? But he's all right. He's cool. But I would be lying if I didn't say, since I took him out the package first, messed around for a second, then put him down, and took this guy out because I just thought he was going to be the best one, right? But I keep going back to messing with this guy because when I put him in poses, he holds that pose. He's so dynamic, right? I can twist him and turn him. I can make him do whatever I want him to do, and he's there. And I like to take pictures, so for photographing and stuff like photographing, for taking pics, he's dead on. I mean, with little effort, I can put him in the pose, sit him down, and he's standing. This guy, he's so much. He's clunky, he's big, he's bulky. I want to make him take this pose, and I want to bring this around and do the same thing. Some of these things are okay, some of these things are easily done. Other things, such things are not. If I do a wide arm pose, like this, that, and third, I got to work to cover the joints up. Mainly when you get onto the legs, that's where it falls apart for this guy, and at the neck area here, when you want to make him do different, look in different directions. So, I mean, because it's a beautiful sculpt, it still looks great, it still stands out, but it just, as far as fun factor, picking it up, messing around with it, whatever you do with it, feeling like it's real, looks good, I mean, this guy just wins. I like picking him up. His joints are tight, you know what I'm saying? He's on the money. I don't ever feel like, you know, he's finna fall apart or fall down. Now, as far as balance go, this guy's on 1 foot right now. We're going off the stand. This guy's on 1 foot right now. This guy is not doing that. He's not. If he can do this move right now, right? If he can do this move right now, I will give the whole daggone competition over to the daggone Storm Collectibles Ryu right now. It's a bitch to get the fucking knee bent. And keep in mind, I was a bigger fan of the Storm Collectibles Ryu before actually having it, right? There you go. He can't do it. And it's not nothing against him, but because of his size. You can put some work in. If you put some work in, maybe it's possible. There we go. But just as far as it being done right off the top, put it down. This guy goes straight to it. This guy, you got to put the work in. And you still don't get the same kind of bend. Look at this. Twist to the side. He's already ready to fall. Just twist him to the side. He's still standing up. You got to set him. You got to set him in place and get that point of balance. Let me turn the head. It's too much work. So, that's fucking it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Storm Collectibles Ryu. Hey, so thanks for tuning in. I hope I've given you some information that you may not have otherwise had. At very minimum, I hope I've entertained you. Out of here. Power up, Ryu.